Kia ora and welcome to Uncovering Authenticity. Ko Monique Bradley tōku ingoa he kai kōrero. Aho, I'm Monique Bradley. I am a storyteller, but you know what? So are you. And today I am super excited to hear a woman who is all about stories, how to use them, and how to use them to help your business. She is a marketing strategist and she has the coolest hair I've ever seen. Her name is Theresa Ma'aelopa. Woo!
Thanks, Monique. Oh, what a welcome.
Like
It's amazing.
What I'm trying to manifest is a stadium-sized arena kind of spectacular. And so I think if you start with a little bit of a cheer, it gives you that feeling. I'm trying to draw it to me. So welcome to the stadium.
Thanks.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm excited to be here.
So I just want to, I know we were talking about your beautiful natural hair colour. I love it. It's such a statement. I love it. It suits the whole look. You are interesting to me.
Oh, it's great to hear. Thank you,
might say that. I know, what an unusual way to start a podcast, but you are. I've heard you speak many times. You're really clear on how you help businesses, and you're like me. You're about storytelling. We look at storytelling from probably different. It's the same function, but from different perspectives.
Yeah.
I'm just about the content. You're looking about how to use the content. The one thing I know from playing with businesses for so long, whether it's my own business or working with other people to help them tell their stories, is that most people don't really understand what marketing is or the difference between marketing and sales. So I thought, let's start here for all of our business owners who might be listening in today. Let's get a bit of a definition and set the bar. Then we're going to tell your story. So in your words, what is marketing?
Yeah, so definitely one of the reasons why I got into what I do and was being a marketing strategist as opposed to a tactical executor is because of the misunderstandings and misconceptions, I guess, around marketing out there. And so what is marketing? Wow, how do you actually put it into a definition? It's really about putting the customer at the center of your business and about making sure that your customer's voice is heard in everything that you do, and that the message that you're putting out there is super relevant for them.
Okay, got it. Excellent. That makes a lot of sense, because as a speaker, I know if I'm delivering content and I want to change the state of an audience or connect with them, I speak in a particular way that they will replicate. And in speaking world, we call it the chameleon effect. And so if I've got a really hyped up audience, I'll speak in a lower, slower tone.
Yeah.
And it will change the whole energy of the room. So effectively what you're saying is through good marketing content, you're speaking that person's language so they can connect. Is that what I take away from that?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Think about your Facebook feed as a perfect example of how much noise there is out in the marketplace at the moment. And what do you do when you get to your Facebook feed? You scroll. And that's where stop the scroll came from. That very term is because there's so much noise. Our brains have become really efficient of trying to really weed out everything that's not relevant to us. So we have to be really hyper relevant to ensure that the message that you're putting out there makes people want to stop.
Okay, so this is a good place to start in today's chat. We're going to go deep today. I'm feeling it. We're going to go down the rabbit hole. Now, over the years, because I've worked in digital as well, there's one big pain point that I hear from people about what they perceive digital marketing to be. Mm-hmm. And that pain point is, I did all this digital marketing and I didn't get any sales.
Yes.
How do you reply to an objection like that? Because I just want to put it right out there.
Yeah, it's probably one of the biggest complaints that I hear, and one of the biggest complaints on why people come to me, because they're like, I've thrown all this money at the wall. I often say they just throw shit at the wall.
Yeah, yeah, you can swear on this podcast.
And they hope that it sticks. Yep. You know what happens when shit doesn't stick? It makes a really big mess at the bottom of the
It's a bit stank, to be fair.
So we...
What a beautiful visual image, you know? Yeah.
So when it comes to digital marketing, it's a lot like that. They jump into tactics without enough information in behind that. And without that information, if they're working with an agency, as an example, the agency probably doesn't have the information to actually optimize what they're doing. Starting with a strategy means that all that information's there, and those agencies can actually, or should be able to, take that information and optimize much quicker than if they didn't have that information and weren't looking at that.
So are you saying that with a strategy you get better results? Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Big call.
The return on investment, if you understand your customers, you can tailor your message and you actually go and target them in the right channels, then you absolutely will be more effective and therefore get a better return on investment.
And probably a better night's sleep as well, right?
Well, I mean, with a better return on investment, that means more money in the bank for most of us.
And also, if you're doing the content creation yourself, you're probably spending less time doing the content creation because you're being more impactful and more effective, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I mean, I love the idea of people doing their own content creation because, well, you would be the same.
I'm a creator, yeah.
Because of the way they tell the story. It's different from if you get somebody else to tell the story for you. It's much more genuine and authentic and has a different level of passion to it, I think, if it's the actual, business owner or the person that started the business that's telling those stories.
And I see these are a real big shift in trends around, and I'm sorry to everybody if you're waiting for a juicy life story, it'll come, I promise you, because that's what these are always about. But I really want to give some value right from the get-go. I know there's been a big trend change. I'm getting so geeky right now, but I love this stuff. I know there's a real big trend change from what we would call influencer content or user-generated content into something called employee-generated content, and that kind of aligns with what you're talking about, which is the people behind the brand actually telling the story. Is it more effective?
Humanising a business and a brand will always be effective. At the end of the day, as people, we want to connect with other people. And you actually notice the difference significantly if you went and looked at a website that had people on it and the effect that it has on you as a person versus if you went onto a website that just shows product or something like that. Yes, we can relate, but we've got to actually search harder as a consumer to actually find how we relate to it. Whereas if there's a face and we recognise they're happy or anything like that, we actually start to sort of feel some of those emotions. So absolutely having human aspects to your brand and profiling your people really humanises your business.
I love that. I was just thinking of a brand that I'm doing some work with, but it's an animal-related brand. And it just reminded me that a great strategy for them, I'm sharing right now, is of course to show their customers who are more happy dogs.
Yeah.
Of course, it makes so much sense. That totally resonates. Yeah. I'm so grateful for your wisdom and your clarity on that. But I want to know, how did you get there? How did you get into this?
Wow.
What's the journey?
So I actually started out way back when I left school. I went to university. That was the path that we were meant to take.
And what did you study?
I went there thinking I was going to become an accountant. So I went to do a Bachelor of Business degree in accounting, and in my first year discovered marketing, and I thought, this is much more me. Back then, of course, accounting was very much you had a relationship with a piece of paper, and marketing, you have relationships with people.
Yeah.
And so when I discovered marketing, I was like, really like this. But accounting always came easy to me, so I was a bit torn. Ended up doing a joint major in accounting and marketing.
Okay, but valuable as a business tool now.
Yeah, and back then, because accountants traditionally saw marketers as the people that were just going to spend money.
Wow.
And it should probably never have been seen that way, but it was. And now, I mean, it is changing. It's been seen a bit more as an investment that should give you a return as opposed to a cost. So I think the accounting side probably comes in now on that. How do we actually get a return on investment?
Very, very valuable. Yeah. So from university to...
Yeah, so then I had various in-house marketing roles, everything from a head office at a real estate group to retail to building products, automotive. Spent a couple of years working in Australia as well, in Melbourne. came back to New Zealand right in the middle of the global financial crisis.
Oh, awkward.
So ended up moving back in and living with my mum and dad for 9 months.
As always happens. I don't know how many people I've spoken to have had that.
Yeah, it was interesting, right? And I love my parents and they love me, but I think we can all agree that it was by far enough time.
Yeah, 9 months is a long time.
Spend together at that age. So yeah, then just after the first lockdown of COVID, I was made redundant from the marketing manager position that I had. And if I look back at it, in hindsight, probably a really, really good thing that happened to me. And I know that lots of people who go through redundancies do end up saying the same thing. It is hard at the time, but yeah, what it did is it opened my mind to what was I capable of doing. And I had a graduate in that last role that in my team, and for anyone that's taken on managing a graduate, they'll know that there's quite a bit of work in sort of coaching them and mentoring them. And I didn't realize actually how much I had to offer and how much knowledge I had until I was sitting down actually helping her through some of that stuff. And she was just astounded and so thankful and appreciative of me sharing with her.
And what was that, having gone through the redundancy and then all of a sudden having this awareness, what was that like for your confidence? Because I imagine it would have been a bit of an emotional roller coaster.
Oh, absolutely. It was. How do I even... I did have a little bit of a career identity crisis, I call it. And what I mean by that is I couldn't tell you how many restructures I've actually been through in marketing departments. And at that time, I was pretty disheartened about whether marketing was ever going to be taken seriously within a business, because it was always the first thing off the bus when there was tough times. It was always where the money had to come from if the company needed to profit protect was what one of the corporate organisations used to use, and that was just tough because I wanted to take a long-term view. I have a very strategic mindset. I could see the potential of all of these businesses and products and everything that I managed, and I just felt like things were kind of probably being held back a bit. So I actually connected with a company, I guess for lack of a better term, I'd call them an agency, who really focused on strategy. When I first met them, I was like, I'm not really quite sure. I pretty much did what I tell none of my clients to do. And then I just went, I'll give it a go. Right? No plan, no strategy, nothing.
Wow.
I was like, I'm just going to take the leap of faith.
Wow.
And I did. And so then at the end of 3 months, I think I'd had 2 clients by then. So much, right? And, but I was like, I think I do enjoy this. I think this is cool. Yeah. At 6 months, I was like, yeah, I am really enjoying this. So we'll give it another 6 months. At 1 year, I actually went, now's the time for me to actually get serious.
Wow.
And so that's when I started actually putting some of my own marketing strategies into place, which is predominantly networking, and actually thinking how do I get serious about promoting my business, who I am and what I do.
And so how long have you been in business with this business? 2 years? 3? 2 years?
My own business, the brand actually is about a year and a month old. So
wow.
But I have been,
and you're everywhere. Like I go to all these networking events, and you said that's part of your strategy.
Yeah,
and you're everywhere.
So I did start that prior to having my own brand. So I've been self-employed for 3.5 years.
Okay. Yep.
So I took control and went, I want more work. I'm going to go find it. And look, that has worked really well for me. The networking, the connections that I have, I think is probably one of the most rewarding things I've actually got out of all of all of the things that I've done over the last 3 years to know that I'm surrounded by so many amazing business people is what has helped me be successful and remain really positive through times like now with a recession and things like that. I'm not experiencing that at all.
And of course, we connected through a networking group as well, through BNI. And I always say a shout out to BNI because I've met so many amazing people as well. When you said you did the one thing you would tell your clients not to do, which is to jump ship and just go, I'm just going to trust the universe or whatever. You know, some people say that, or you're just going to, I'll just give it a go. I'm very much I'll give it a go and see what happens kind of human. But what was that for someone who's come from accounting, and accounting is very analytically minded, and, you know, it's about risk and it's about, we need to see what the numbers are going to do. What was it like for you to literally let go? Yeah. And what was it like for your confidence to go against the part of your brain which is trying to protect you and go, screw it?
I think everybody has self-doubt sometimes, right? And there definitely was some self-doubt in there. But when I thought about what was the real risk of it not working out was, I could probably just go get another job somewhere if I had to. Wow. So I guess I was fortunate in that I had a husband that supported me as well through all of it. And, you know, we've had our ups and downs, each of us around financials, and we've just always financially supported each other. And so he kind of gave me pocket money during the time when I wasn't earning, which was definitely a foreign concept to me because I've always earned my own way. But I guess being able to rely on somebody like that just means that it takes the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah, I understand.
You're sort of not on your own to make mortgage payments.
That's all that stuff that causes you, midnight anxiety attacks and all that sort of thing. That's so cool. Did 6-year-old Teresa think she would be doing what she's doing now?
No. Not at all. I think the one thing I can remember wanting to be when I was a child was a teacher. I don't know why. I guess in a way I kind of am a teacher, but I was
just going to say you're kind of doing it because you're kind of educating people about their marketing strategy.
Yeah, and maybe that was what was kind of driving wanting to be a teacher.
Maybe.
I think as I got older, all I really wanted to do was, and it's so corny, but it is to make a difference to somebody. And that is, often just one person at a time. And small business owners in New Zealand just get so overwhelmed. There were so many different hats. And when I saw, and I've seen that for so long throughout my career, and they don't get any kind of strategic support, really.
No. And there's no education around marketing. Like if you go through school.
No.
Or everybody gets into their own business. This is the one thing I find. People get into their own business and suddenly they realise, wow, I thought I was really good at this skill, but now I have to be a marketing machine.
Yeah.
Nobody. I do have to say a bit of a shout out to organisations like MB who now do video content, which is a helpful resource and things like that. They've done amazing, and all of the business tools that are becoming available through the government. But the real in-depth stuff, of course, we're told we need to outsource and do all that sort of thing. But for smaller companies, sometimes it's not a reality. They don't have the budget,
and they're being sold marketing by so many different people that it's completely overwhelming as to what they should be doing. And then their friends down the road are telling them what they should do. And then they're seeing what their competitors are doing. And they're going, well, what of this should I be doing? There are so many possible marketing channels out there now. I think at last count, I think it was about 6 months ago or so, I did a count of social media channels, and there was actually something like 26 that I got to that you could possibly actually be marketing yourself on.
Oh my goodness.
Now that's just not realistic for any business, right? Particularly in New Zealand business with limited resources.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
But even you wouldn't find even American businesses on all of those. You've just got to look at what's the right thing for you, what's the right thing where you're going to find your customers, and really get stuck into those and do those well. So I say do less, but do more with less. if that makes sense.
Oh, that was a good one. Oh, that was great. Oh, I'm always waiting for these nuggets of wisdom that come through. And hand on heart, every single time I get some sort of wisdom that I know that our listeners and viewers will love. So you mentioned earlier we're in the bowels of a recession right now. And we've seen all this stuff before. This is not new to anybody. If you're old enough to listen to this podcast, you've seen it before. But one of the things I've been telling people is that, I think personally that in a time of recession, now's the time you should be planting your seeds. It's because when the season shifts, and it will, and it's likely to happen from sort of Christmas, that's what economists I follow have been saying. With all that, when people are ready to buy again, it's important to be top of mind, right?
Exactly. I mean, I've already heard some people saying they're already starting to see things improve.
Oh, great.
So with, the market the way that it is, I think that that's celebrations for everybody. But there was a lot of businesses that sat back and made money, excuse me, when there was the good times, and now they're going, what did I do to protect myself?
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything.
Yes.
And actually the good times are the best time to actually put your marketing structures and strategies in place so that you're ready to turn things on or whenever you need to. And that's when you're starting to see the downturn, not when you're right back bang in the bottom pits of it.
Kind of like we are now.
Unfortunately, that's too late to be turning your marketing on.
Okay, see, this is good. Now, I wanted to ask around that topic, what are some of the key tips you would share for businesses right now who might be struggling? What should they be doing? And of course, obviously, one of the tips is they need to come and see you and have a chat with you. So I'm just going to telegraph that now. I'm a shameless promoter. I don't care. I think people do a great job. I do not mind sharing their details at all. In fact, I will share the details around this video or whatever channel or platform you're on or listening to. I'll share the details so that people can get in touch with you. But what are the things people should be doing right now to get themselves out there to do the marketing?
Yeah, so I talked about marketing being an investment before, and that's how, first of all, they have to approach it. So it's a mindset thing, I think. If you view marketing as a cost to the business, then it's never really going to work for you. So look at what are the right things, what are the essential things that you need to be doing right now to connect with those customers. Where are they likely to be? Think about which stage of sort of the sales funnel do you want to connect with them at? So is that when they're just aware that they've got a problem, or is it when they're actually trying to pick or select the product or service to solve the problem? Often the direct results will come from that area of the funnel where people are actively out hunting for the product or the service. Yep. But there's a lot more noise in that space. So you're probably going to have to pay more to actually try to appear at that time.
Of course.
But really it's about doing the right things, making sure that you've got the right message. And so looking and assessing and I guess trying to pull any data around the effectiveness of what you've been doing to date. Hold agencies accountable. I think most businesses don't do that well enough. They don't know what to ask for. They don't know which data is actually going to be important to them. But ultimately, if you're not getting results on the bottom line, then you need to be asking why and trying to resolve that.
Yep. And doing something differently. I love that quote about, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yes.
I've heard this over the years many a time where people go, I need you to help me with my brand, but we have to do the same thing.
No.
Like, come on now.
Yeah, those are the types of people that literally I just won't be able to add any value to.
Yeah.
Because I will question everything. That's part of what I do, is really challenge the status quo and what they're doing. And then I can, I guess, look at things from a different perspective to be able to give them some other options.
Yeah.
And I love generally with passionate business owners, they're just blown away by some of the simplest ideas, which simple is always really, really effective and really good.
Yep.
So yeah, I just love sort of getting into that space with them and getting them to try some other things out there.
That's so exciting. That's so cool. So this podcast is all about real people. It's about real business stuff. But also I believe you can't separate the person from the business, you know. And in your business, you are the business. People are buying you, time with you, your knowledge and expertise. And I think, you know, one of the things I talk about as a public speaking coach is, of course, the why story. Now, you mentioned before, and you sort of said it's a little bit corny, but you want to make a difference in people's life. Is that why you do what you do?
Yeah, for me, I think it's really about empowering them because knowledge empowers. And so me sharing my knowledge with them and what I know will hopefully empower them to make their business better. My job, as far as I'm concerned, is not to sign them up on a monthly retainer and keep them as my client for indefinitely.
Yeah.
My job is to say, I'm going to set you up for success, and when you're ready, I will release you into the wild, if you like.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. You want them to fly.
Yeah. But I'm always there. Should they have their wing clipped or something like that? They can always come back if there's something they're not sure about. Ultimately, I want them to be 100% confident about taking their business out there.
Yeah. So when it comes to the humanized side of your business, the human behind the brand, on your entrepreneurial journey, you've had a few highs and lows, going through redundancy, going through different iterations, living with your parents, lots of different things going on there. If there was one tip or life lesson that you've learnt through all this, or your motto, or your TED Talk message in there that you would want every other business owner or entrepreneur to know when they're having one of those days where they just go, oh, screw it, I'm going to give up, or when it's too hard, what would be that life lesson you would share, that you want to share? What's burning inside you that you want to uplift and empower and inspire any other business owner or entrepreneur?
Yeah,
about?
I guess, and it's something that I've certainly been through since I've been my own boss, I guess, and that's that actually your energy levels do vary, and so you don't actually have to be on top of the world all the time. It's okay to have those days where you want to throw it away, but have the people around you that, like that support network, that you can pick up the phone and talk to them, and then you can actually laugh and feel much better afterwards. And I've got that. I know who those people are. For me, you know, sometimes clients just do things that aren't quite aligned with where we're going, and so it can be incredibly frustrating.
Yes.
And so there's those people that I've got that I can sort of offload and download to. And at the end of the day, when I talk to them, I'm reminded of why I'm doing it. I'm reminded of the amazing people that I've met on my journey so far. And therefore, I'm reminded of all the positive things that I've actually been able to take out of it.
And that keeps you buoyant?
Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does.
That's a beautiful thing. Well, if this message has resonated with you as it has with me, because we all need those moments and those people that lift us up. In fact, I heard a quote somewhere, a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that's done through the people we surround ourselves with. If this message has landed with you and this lady sounds like she's knowledgeable, which she clearly is, you need to get in touch with her. So, Teresa, how can people find out more about you? How can they connect with you? I know, like me, you're probably everywhere because I see you everywhere, but what's the best channels to get in touch?
Yeah, certainly check out my website at marketingarchitect.co.nz and you'd be able to contact me through that.
Beautiful. It's too easy. Marketingarchitect.co.nz. I'll share the links around this video anyway. Make sure you have a look at her website, find out what she does, because if you need help and support, she might be the right boat for you, or the right tide to keep you buoyant. There we go. Did you like how I looped that back in?
Lovely.
It was beautiful.
It was great. Awesome.
I should do this for a job or something.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. I'm not sure. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me in the studio. Teresa, you are absolutely amazing. Woo!
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thank you to Pete behind the scenes for producing the podcast today. He does an amazing job.
Whoop, whoop.
Woohoo! And thank you to you listening or watching. I am so grateful. This podcast would not exist without people like you who sit here and watch it and listen and share. And I keep getting told, please like, subscribe, share and all that doodah. You know the job. You know the drill. But yeah, if this has resonated with you, either get in touch with Teresa or share this with your friends. Let's spread the love. Let's spread the joy. Now keep telling stories out there, ladies and gentlemen. Stories matter. Engari, ko Monique Bradley tōku ingoa he kai kōrero. Aho, I'm Monique Bradley. I'm a storyteller and so are you. So make your message meaningful. Ka kite anō, e noho rā. Woo! How's that for you, Teresa?
Awesome.
That's all right. You did really well.
Oh,
well done.